Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you my TBR for Victober. I have never taken part in Victober before, which is quite surprising because I love the Victorian times. Even my wedding was Victorian themed. I took 2 patterns of dresses and pieced together a pattern for my dress. And luckily my sister-in-law is a really good seamstress and was able to make it for me. I found a little shop that sold Victorian type things and bought my boots from them. We found this Victorian mansion in Salt Lake City. And for the same price that we were given for reception centers in this area, for a few hours, we were able to rent out the whole thing for the first night. So we were able to have our reception there, all of our family got to have a room there and stay the night, and then we got to stay there the rest of the weekend. And when they found out that we were doing a Victorian theme to our wedding, they actually put us on the brochure. But even though I didn't have a YouTube channel before, I did take part in readathons. I just put them in my planner and just did them quietly by myself. I have been doing the Boo to You readathon from Emma the Bookish Princess for the past 5 years, and she said that she's not doing that this year. And I also do Bookathon, and that's the week-long spooky middle grade readathon, and I felt like more than that was too much. So since Emma is not doing Boo to You this year, that opened up the month for Victober. And I am really excited because I did have quite a few Victorian era novels I wanted to get to this month, and some that have been on my TBR for a long time. So I'm excited to finally be able to take part in Victober. Victober is hosted by Kate Howe, Roz at Scallydandling About the Books, Marissa at Blatantly Bookish, Petra at Petra U, and Katie at Books and Things. And they each picked a prompt for the readathon. So Katie's prompt was read a piece of Victorian New Woman fiction. And when I was looking at the recommendations for that and the other books that came up when I searched for that, there was nothing that was sticking out to me. However, I really did want to reread Dracula in October. I really love Dracula and I haven't read it for a long time. And I was looking up something about it. And they mentioned in this article that the 2 women in Dracula talk about the new woman. And so, perfect, reading Dracula. Kate's prompt is a Victorian work with a stranger or outsider. And a few months ago, she had made a video where she was talking about Treasure Island, and she also mentioned this book, Moonfleet. And I loved Treasure Island, and so I got this, but I hadn't got around to reading it yet. So when I saw her recommend this for that prompt, I knew that this was the month I'm finally going to get to that. Marissa's prompt is to read a book by a new to you author. And I have never read Anthony Trollope, so I'm going to be reading The Belton Estate. I decided to do this instead of the group pick because I don't own the group pick and I did already have this. So we'll see. I'm hoping I really, really like him. And then Petra's prompt is to read a Victorian book with a first-person narrative. A lot of my books actually could have counted for that. But I really wanted to get to some Sherlock Holmes this month, so I'm going to be reading A Study in Scarlet for this prompt. And then the last prompt is read a Victorian work where class features strongly. I don't know for sure if it features strongly in this book, but it said that the girl in it was a governess, so I'm hoping. I'm going to be reading Henry James, The Turn of the Screw. This has other books or other short stories, but I don't know if I'll read all of them or if I'll just read The Turn of the Screw. I got this at a used bookstore a few months ago and I'm saving it for October. So I know that he's not a typical British author, but I have heard quite a few people say they were going to be reading him for Victober, so I decided I'll make him count as well. So those are the books I'm going to be reading for prompts. And then there is one more book I know for sure I'm going to be reading because I'm going to be reading it with my daughters. Last year I read The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde for the first time and I loved it. So I really wanted to read it with them this year. So I'm going to be reading that as well. And then there are a few more Victorian books that I might get to, so I'll get to those in a minute. For Bookathon, I will be making a separate video. So my middle grade spooky books, that will be coming later. But there are 3 other books that I know for sure I want to get to in October. One is The European Adventure Mystery at Mouse Castle. I don't know very much about this book, but I'm pre-reading it for my youngest daughter, and it sounds cute. And then I really want to read Lost in Darkness by Michelle Greep. I read her other book, Man of Shadow and Mist, that was a retelling of Dracula, and this one is a retelling of Frankenstein. And the other one was really good. I really enjoyed it, so I'm hoping to enjoy that as well. And then another book that I'm going to get to is called The Will Spins by Ethel Lina White. And I don't know very much about this except that it involves a train And it sounds like the girl passes out, and when she awakens, the person that she had been speaking to beforehand has gone missing. I don't know. I'm trying to go into not knowing too much. So those are the other 3 books that I am for sure going to read that have nothing to do with Victober. And then I'll have Bookathon. If I have any more time after that, then I also want to read The Hound of Baskervilles, reread that. And I would love to get to Jungle Book. I've never read that. So those ones would add to my Victober pile if I get to them. But I don't know if I will. I haven't read as many books as I usually do in September, so I'm hoping October will be different and I will get to a lot of the books on my list. Let me know if you're taking part in Victober this year or what you're planning to read in October. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you love any of them, if you hate any of them, and thank you for watching.